kind of, yeah, that a little bit of a hiccup there, bud.
Trying to show the guitar. I lost the grip.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough.
I lost the grip.
It happens to the best of us. We all lose our grip from time to time.
Otherwise, I'm sitting there playing the music, looking at the screen like this. You know what I mean? It's like nobody really knows what's going on. Steve's really into that riff, huh?
Yeah. Guys, it is 5:00 on a Monday, and if you are looking for information on the Austin, Texas housing market or the mortgage market, you're in the right spot. We do this every Monday. Chris Pesek. I'm a real estate broker associate, which is a fancy word for a broker that does not own his own brokerage at Pesek Properties, even though it sounds like own brokerage. And this is my buddy, Stevie Ray Babcock, Stephen Babcock of Motto Mortgage.
You got to be able to word that better. That means I don't own my own brokerage. You could just say something probably a little different, which means I've had a lot of hours of education.
Well, but it's always the associate thing, right? Because it gives the connotation that you're really not a full broker. When I'm a complete broker. I just don't want
in your head.
Headache of the paperwork, right? Like I don't need all that extra paperwork.
I would say that's all in your head, and that people will hear what they tell you. And I would go with the truth in just a different form.
Fair enough. And as always, if you have comments or thoughts on that, drop it in the comments because the show's a heck of a lot more fun.
Way more fun.
We have audience interaction like we did last week. It was awesome.
It was,
guys. One of the other things that we do on this show, in addition to talking real estate and mortgages, is we tend to have adult beverages. That's the whole point of After Hours Real Estate. My friend, we're still on the Heineken?
We're still on the Heineken.
Yes, not bad. Now, I'm going to do some show and tell. I'm still drinking vodka drinks because it's the spring and it's time for vodka for me. But look at this awesome cup. What do you think about that?
I think if you're not a sports fan, people might think you're a pervert.
Nope, this is not sports fan. This is Dripping Springs, Texas, USA. There was this whole marketing thing in Dripping Springs where they said they were going to rename the town Pound Town because the original settler here was Dr. Pound. And Acapon Brewing, one of my favorite breweries out here, jumped on it. They've got Pound Town swag. I picked up this cup. It's awesome. And they even make a Pound Town malt liquor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Interesting. It's reminding me of Bodie McBoatface, but all right. Good.
Yeah. No, if you're in Dripping Springs, you got to go to Acapon. They specialize in English style beers. But man, they are freaking awesome. Great beer. Anyway, dude, what do you say we get kicked off with a little market update on a couple of the areas I'm keeping an eye on?
Yeah, that's fine. I could do a quick rate update too. It's up to you.
Well, let's do that while I get this loaded up.
Sure.
What's trending in the rate world?
Yeah, so the headlines are scary, saying it's the worst rates of the year.
Oh my God, it's February.
But keep in mind, it's not even March yet. Yeah, we haven't hit the third month of the year yet. So ignore those a little bit. Rates have been worse. They were worse last year, but the real issue, inflation's not under control. Rates right now are in the sevens somewhere, probably closer to the high sevens for most people. Yeah. But I've also seen some in the low sevens, even high sixes, depending on, how much money you're willing to spend. But that's a general range I think that people could bite into right there. Yeah. If I get more specific, I have to throw out an APR and closing costs and all the rest. And I don't have even a borrower to talk about. So yeah, that's not, at least for that scenario.
While we're on this topic, what's affecting it? I mean, because we've seen bump the last 2 weeks.
Well, inflation. So the inflation. I forget that I did a video on this, and it wasn't this video. Okay, great. So, right. If you go back in time, roughly 5 months, the inflation.
Time out, guys. If Steve does a weekly mortgage update where he talks about what's affected, it's short. It's like a minute long, minute and a half sometimes. If you want access to this, if you want him to send you this information, send your email address. Put your email address in the comments so he can send it to you. Or if you've got my cell phone number, his cell phone number, just text it to us. Mine's 512-736-1703. Yeah, he can put you on the mailing list. Easy. Okay, sorry, go.
If you just text me your email address, though, I'm not going to know what you're talking about. So you're going to have to be a little more specific, but I'd be happy to add you. Okay. So Yeah, man. So if you go back in time about roughly 5 months from today, the interest, hello, the inflation numbers were that, inflation raised 0.1% that month, which is good, actually. We want 2% a year. If it's 0.1 every month, then we're looking at 1.2 throughout the year. So that was good. That's great. Hey, 0.1 is great. Now we can let off the brakes, right? We can raise rates. So that was the attitude, right? So we want 2% inflation. If we're projecting 1.2, hey, we can lower rates now, right? So the Fed was speaking like they might start to lower rates. Then the very next month, I believe, the inflation came back at 0.2. Okay, it's the wrong direction, but 0.2 is not bad. We're still close to that 2% rate, right? If you take 0.2 times 12 months, right, then instead of 1.2 like we were at last month, right, we're actually at 2.4. Okay, so all right, not too bad. Okay, I think we can handle this. We're close to that 2%. Then the next month came out, and this is where I'm a little blurry. I can't remember exactly what, but over the last 5 months, we've gone up 4 times. So 5 months ago it was 0.1%, then it was 0.2, then all of a sudden it was 0.3, then this reading last week had 0.4. Okay, so you do 0.4, and now all of a sudden you're at nearly 5% inflation, which isn't that bad. It's not great. What the real issue isn't, I mean, it's not great, it's not good, right? But the real issue isn't that number, it's that it's accelerating. It's gone from 0.1 to 0.2 to 0.3 to 0.4. And these are not small gains, because when you project them out a whole year, we're talking about giantly different numbers. Let's put it this way: if next month we see 0.5 come out on the inflation numbers, the rate hikes will be on the table again. In fact, it would almost be impossible to ignore rate hikes. Right now, we've gone from 2 months ago, we had a 90% chance of a rate cut in March, right? Just in March. And then within a week after that, it was, news comes out, boom, all of a sudden we have a 90% chance of a rate hike. And when now this last increase came out last week, and it's just, we're almost undoubtedly going to have to raise rates. This next month will be very, very important. Next week is very important. There's some numbers coming out then, but really next month's CPI is really what you want to keep an eye
on. Thank you, Mr. Captain Depressing.
Hey, I told you rates shouldn't get better till the end of the year. Have I not been saying that?
No,
I've been saying that,
but you
we had a
say
fluke.
that they were going to get worse.
Well, they aren't worse.
Oh,
when I said it, we were around 8.5%, 9% interest rates.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't argue with that.
Right. And today, if you go down to google.com, right, or you go to Mortgage News Daily, there's somewhere between 7.1 and 7.7, depending on which website you're at. But that's a good. There's a huge range, right? But you're in the sevens, like I said, right? You might be in the low or the high sixes, but you're really in that range, depending on where you go and what your scores and all that look like. We're not at 8.5 like we were. We just aren't. And I do believe we might go back there, but I don't think it'll get much worse than that anymore. And I still believe by the end of the year, we should start seeing things adjust, and mainly because the government can't afford otherwise.
Yeah,
we have too much government debt to refinance at these higher numbers. It would cripple us. So we have to ask the Fed. I mean, we own the Fed, so they'll do what we say. Yes. We're not supposed to say we own them. The Congress promulgated the Fed, so Congress can end the Fed if they want to. So the Fed does what Congress wants, even though they're not supposed to. It's just it is, and it's not really the Congress that it does; it's the House that it. Anyways, all right, moving on. Anyway, what are things looking like in Bastrop, my friend?
No, not Bastrop today. Not Bastrop today.
All right, well,
hang on.
You're up there.
Where are we? Can you see it?
Taylor. Yes, sir.
Taylor, man. Yeah, we're and keep in mind, guys, I roll around because I do updates every Monday, and I've got 6 suburbs that I do in Austin. So anyway, every Monday I put these out, these market updates on my real estate YouTube page. I'm about to sneeze.
Oh, thank you for muting that. That was very
awesome.
polite.
That was very smooth and slick right there.
I wouldn't.
The thing with Taylor, and I didn't have a chance to add to these slides yet, but I've got some of the information you were requesting last week. But so overall, what are we seeing? Okay, listings are dropping. That's pretty much the same across the board with 1 or 2 outliers. Move-in ready homes are dropping. So inventory is getting tight. Under contracts is up from last month, which we expect because, this is kind of the start of the buying season with March, April, May, and June being the biggest at the peak. Average days on market dropping. Yep, you're looking at the sold price, right?
It's the only thing
So
I've been looking at the whole time.
the thing is, this is the fallacy of the mean, right? Where there was a $3 million property in Taylor, and when you're only closing 5 in a month, that's going to skew the data. Okay, this is a lot closer to normal. 290. In fact, in December, it was 285. So it's trending up a little bit, actually. Anyway, yeah, this was skewed by an outlier when you only had 5 closings.
Yeah, I'm
And
seeing multiple offers right now. So I mean,
yeah,
it feels like we're almost like we're back.
yeah,
It's
it
crazy.
feels fairly normal right now. And closing the last 30 days, okay, we're up again. That's trending up. If these stay in contract, we're probably going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of, call it 18 to 20 closings next month. And it's not going to be all of these, because some of these are new construction that are not finished yet. So
Sure.
we're trending up with everything right now. So Taylor, Texas, just like everything else around Austin, sold prices are going up if you throw out an outlier this year, which is
A hell
kind of
of an
what we
outlier.
expected. Yeah, hell of an outlier.
They have an
But
airport
here's
in their
the thing.
backyard or something. Jesus.
Yeah, no, I think it was something like, I don't know, was it 80 acres or something? It was
Oh,
pretty.
that'll do it. That'll do
Yeah.
it. All right.
But so here's kind of some of the other things that I wanted to look at, though. So you had asked about, okay, well, what happened last year for average sold price? Okay, Q1 of 2023, average sold price is 356. That dropped down in Q4 to 302. So we're actually down from last year quite a bit in Taylor. Okay, that I find really interesting. But there's one thing I think that could point to that, where a lot of Taylor is actually, the vast majority of this market is resale homes. And if there's new home inventory on the market, that's going to sell faster than the resale. So I think that's pushing the resale home values down. And I think that's what's causing this number to drop. I
Well,
think.
that you can't go from 350 to 289 and not have a lot of people in trouble. That's scary if that's accurate.
Well, not necessarily,
But it's
because
also only 5 people a month, I guess. So
It's
that's not a big
it's
deal.
5 people a month, and the year before that, it was in 2022, this number, well, you know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's look at it. Where am I? Sorry, I gotta find the right tab. We still in Taylor? Yep. 2022. So it's been dropping a little bit. So Q4 2022, 370, and this is where we had that major issue, right, with the interest rates. That's when it hit. And so, yeah, we've dropped down. But when you go back any length of time, okay, we're right back to what, 2021. So pre-COVID is back over here. So everybody in Taylor is still ahead if they bought anytime prior to, call it, 2021. And again, at 5 to 10 a month. Actually, it's more than that, and I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, it's dropped off since that 2022, but we're kind of at that bottom, and now it's starting to trend back up a little bit.
Does that 5 a month not include new builds?
No, it does include new builds.
Oh,
It does.
What-
Those are in that.
uh,
And
cool.
so 2023, all of 2023, we had 222 closings in Taylor, about 18 and a half a month. So again, we're already at that point, or right at it. Okay, first 2 months are down. Next month should be above that. So again, I'm thinking Taylor's going to have a bigger year this year than it did in 2023. And in 2022, that number was a little bit larger. It was 229 in 2022. So, a little bit higher. But again, I think this year is going to end up either being equal to 2022 or outpacing it regardless. So
Sure.
anyway,
Sure. Well, I believe 7.12% is the average of the of interest rates over the history of rates in the United States.
we're right there.
So we're right where the average is.
Yeah.
right
And
now.
interestingly enough, Taylor is one of the outliers in terms of historically. if y'all don't know where Taylor is, it's northeast of Austin. That's where Samsung's building the giant Samsung factory. And so I keep saying that this is a great place to invest because this market is going to take off when Samsung moves 10,000 or 15,000, 20,000 employees in and their families and everything else. So I feel like Taylor's a really good place to invest. But historically, it's kind of been far enough outside of Austin that it wasn't affected by Austin interest rates. Austin appreciation. So we actually see Taylor. Let me get back to this chart.
I can't tell you how many people have told me they want to invest in Taylor because of Samsung showing up.
Yep. But if you look at any kind of given point in here, let's go back to kind of early 2000s. Okay, up, down, up, down, up, down. That didn't happen in Austin and in the closer suburbs, but Taylor being, a little bit more of a farming community and ranching community, for the longest, we see up and down in terms of appreciation. There's not that constant growth that we see pretty much throughout Austin and the closer suburbs.
I think there will be soon, man. There's nowhere else to go anymore,
I mean, but yeah, and dude, look at this. Look what happened since, call it 2012.
Sure.
I mean,
people calm down, but you put a straight line through that in a line graph kind of thing, and to get the average, you're still going up. I mean, maybe it's coming down temporarily, but it looks like it's going to keep going.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's that line is still on track up there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Taylor. Georgetown's the other one I want to take a quick look at this week. So Georgetown's a little bit interesting. Active listings are up quite a bit. That's contrary to the other ones we've been looking at. But move-in ready homes is only up a little bit. So the majority of those active listings that are coming on the market are new build, new construction. So, again, Georgetown is one of those areas that has a ton of new construction. I mean, hell, it's, almost 50% new construction in that market.
Did you go ahead? I'm sorry.
Under contract, up quite a bit also, 340. Average days on market is sinking. We're seeing that in a lot of the suburbs. Average sales price continuing to go up another 20,000 over that December, January.
It's getting hot.
Yep. And then close in the last 30 days, 197. So again, 151 December, January, 197 January to February, and then under contract again, 340. Obviously, all of those won't close in 30 days, but a vast majority of those will. So this number is probably going to go up next month as long as they don't fall out of contract. And then putting a little context on that, Q1 2023, this number here was 528. Q4, it was 510. So it's about stable with where it was last year at this time, and up a little bit from that slowest part of the year, which we usually see, that those prices are down a little bit in that December timeframe. So interesting enough. And then let me see, days on market.
I was going to say, don't move on yet. Keep going though.
Last year,
just don't move off Georgetown.
No, you're good. Last year at this time, days on market was 85. So we're right about in the exact same spot as we were last year. And then closed in 2023, they're a little over 2,900. So we're seeing about 242 a month last year in terms of absorption. And again, we're going to be over that real quickly, over that average. So it's looking like January, February will be below. March, April, May, June will be above, and then we'll just have to see what happens with interest rates after that. Georgetown is one, man. If we have stable interest rates, Georgetown's, let me pop over and I'll go back to that real quick. But Georgetown as a whole here, I do need to get back to this. Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what I was going to tell you while you're doing that is I read an article today about how Georgetown is running out of water, and they're one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. And they project that by 2030, they won't have enough water to feed everybody or to help everybody. And they have like 6 new proposals they're coming up with, and in the billions. It's in the billions to see if it can, if they can keep drinking.
They'll pay for it. Actually, I think they worked out a deal with LCRA to buy water out of Lake Travis. I don't know when that goes into effect.
Well, that's great because we have way too much water in Lake Travis.
Yeah, well, and that's the interesting thing, right? I thought that it was illegal to move water out of watersheds like in Texas to sell it because this is the Colorado River watershed. If you go over to Georgetown, I believe that drains out through the Brazos, I think. So I thought it was actually illegal to do that, but evidently it's not, or else politicians found out a way to do it.
Nothing's legal when you're the government.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's fair. That's fair. So a couple of things that I wanted to kind of point out here. First of all, we saw the same thing. Okay, it peaked in 2021, 2022, but we've remained fairly stable. Even a little bit of a fish hook here in 2023, dropped down a little bit in fourth quarter, and now we're trending back up in Georgetown. But appreciation overall, Georgetown has seen really, really good appreciation throughout the history. That's a pretty steep line for appreciation. And I think if we have at least stable interest rates, I think Georgetown may lead the way with probably 5 to 6% this year. If interest rates drop, man, we may see 6.5%, 7% appreciation in Georgetown. If people are looking to buy in Georgetown, I would not mess around. Absorption rate in Georgetown last 2 years was 34% and 32%. Anything over 20% is considered a seller's market by absorption rate for investors and for builders. So way seller's market in Georgetown right now. Keep that in mind.
Georgetown is fantastic. Reminds me of Back to the Future when you get to that the old square there. It's like it just reminds me of the old clock tower.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, it really is cool. And there's a great little taco place on the square. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. And man, a lot of people don't know like oh gosh, now I'm going to think or forget the dang river. What's the river that runs through?
It's not the Pertinalis. You said it was the Broadway?
It's the San Gabriel. San Gabriel runs through. But man, Georgetown's got great city parks. San Gabriel runs through there. I mean, Georgetown is a cool place, and a lot of people had no idea. Thanks, Carolyn. I appreciate it. Carolyn, our resident graduate of Southwestern University, which is also in Georgetown, Texas, so she knows exactly what
that helps.
Talking about.
She has to know. Then you're supposed to know. Yes.
Man, and some of the reasons Georgetown's growing so dang fast. I mean, you got Southwestern. I think Texas Tech now has a place up there. There is A&M opened up a nursing school not far outside of it. There is a lot of health, a lot of university stuff going on up there. And it's just a badass place to live. So I don't know. Go Pirates.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I know it's gorgeous out there. It's gorgeous. That and Lago Vista.
Lago Vista's freaking amazing.
I did an ARD meeting this morning with Luke. ARD is it's basically like a check-in on your special need child's progress, right? And Luke is on the autism spectrum, as you know. And I get in there and I sit down at this table, and there's 9 professionals. There are 9 professionals, and 2 of them were on a video conference. And one of them shows up late, right? But it was like, dude, how many people are looking after my kid? When we were down in another part of Austin, which I won't mention, we weren't getting that at all. It was maybe 3 people. It wasn't 10 with another 2 on the computer. It's just Lago's outstanding.
Lago's a great school district. And one of my clients, by the way, that got married this past weekend, dude, what the heck are you doing watching the show? Congratulations. Man. So Brandon works for commercial builder, institutional, nice. I guess, if they're doing this, but starting a 3rd high school in August, that's crazy. And the other 2 high schools, I'm pretty sure are 6A, which are the largest classification in Texas. So, dude, when they're adding another high school, more than likely it's going to open as a 5A and allowed to be grown into it. But man, yeah, Georgetown's growing, and their school district's really good. So anyway, yeah, I did not know there was another high school getting started.
Do you know whereabouts, Brandon? I mean, I'm sure you do.
You're still watching, Brandon. Where is it? I hadn't paid attention. Anyway, I'm sure he'll pop on here in a second and let us know. But yeah, north side of Austin is growing faster than anything else in Central Texas. Do you know where the geographic center of Austin is now?
Is it Round Rock?
Not quite. Close.
It's not that high up. All right.
The Domain.
The Domain. Oh, yeah, you're right. Not Round Rock, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, really close. Really close.
So they're going to do a whole new domain up in Cedar Park. That's I just think it's going to push it higher. You know, you were just talking
Oh,
about Taylor, Texas. It's one of the last affordable places that's close by.
well, yeah. I mean, the next place out is, I mean, because Liberty Hill at this point has gotten really expensive. Not really expensive, but compared to where it started 5 years ago. And Liberty Hill's another really cool place. Great school district, great little downtown area. But I mean, dude, the next thing is Gerald. They're already building housing developments in Gerald, Texas, which,
It's
guys,
unreal.
Gerald is way north. And those houses are going up 2 years or no, last year when it first started, they were selling at like 190 and 200, and they're already 250, 275. By the way, most affordable housing you can find in Central Texas: Bastrop, San Marcos, Elgin, and Gerald. I guess
It's
Taylor.
all. Oh, you said Central Texas. I was going to say Texas is a pretty big state. You
Yeah,
sure?
no, Central Texas. I'm talking like the Austin MSA, like what's in our
There you
kind
go. Thank you. All right.
metropolitan
Interesting.
statistical area. Yeah, those are. Again, I've got a YouTube channel full of useless information like this. Just gotta go find it.
It's good stuff, man.
All right, man.
So,
What do you got? What do you got to wrap us up?
well, I'm wondering if you have any more comments. I'm seeing 2 new comments out here. Oh, here we go.
There we go. On DB Wood, which is in the middle of nowhere, 29 in Williams. Good Lord. That's in
I
the
don't even know
middle
where
of
that is, and I live
nowhere.
out here.
It's I think it's further northeast Georgetown, I
We're not.
think.
Oh, was he talking about Georgetown? Or I thought he was talking
Yeah.
about Lago.
No. Lago. I mean Georgetown.
Oh,
No,
well, that
Lago
would
only has one high
explain.
school, dude.
Like I said, I thought they were building another one, but he did say third, didn't he? I
That
didn't
would be
really put
two,
that
yeah.
together. Touche, my friend. Touche. When we moved in here in 2020, there were 6,000 residents, and they're at 9,000 now.
It was a
So
3A high school in 2020. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
And
Dude,
then
when I grew up,
4A, and they see that's the I'm sorry, go ahead.
when I grew up, if you were a special needs student, they would put you in a room that had a window that was like frosted, so you couldn't see through. And of course, it had like the chicken wire in the window, and you would just hear noises come from the room, and you were like, "Wow, there's some weird kid in there." Right? Today, at the elementary school here in Lago, they take my child, and for 2 hours a day, he gets to be in a classroom with all the other kids. And they get to meet him and learn his behaviors and actually play with him, to the point where we were at a soccer game the other day with my older kiddo, and one of the kids was like, "Hey, I go to school with Luke. Can I say hi to him?" I was like, "Sure." And he came over. He was like, "Hi, Luke. Hi." And Luke's, of course, looking off, not doing his thing. But
Right.
it was the coolest thing in the world. They've made it so
Awesome.
that my child is just another part of the community, as opposed to that kid in that room that we hear sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
the way they do it today is just infinitely better. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but man, it's cool to watch. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah. Well, and again, man, Lago's its own little world,
Yeah.
like that. It really is kind of a small town still, and I think Liberty Hill's like that as well still. And Burnet's going to be the next thing out west. But what I was going to say about Lago is, and this is kind of information for people who maybe you're trying to pick out a good a good school district if you want your kids in a smaller district, because like I just mentioned. Georgetown has 2 6A high schools. The one they're opening is probably going to open as either a 4A or a 5A, and it's going to grow to 6 really quickly. But there's other school districts who are trying to stay small and keep their schools smaller and keep their student-teacher ratios
Sure.
smaller.
Good luck. Good luck.
Lago's one of them. It's a 4A school. They're already planning the next school, so they're trying to keep it as a 4A high school. They're trying to keep it small. And Liberty Hill's another one. What was the other one?
Georgetown.
Hayes Consolidated. They're trying to keep all of their schools as, I think, 5As, which is bigger than Lago, but still they're not letting them go and get giant, as opposed to like some of the places in Dallas. Allen High School, I think at this point is like 7,000 students or something.
So
it's so ridiculous.
we have a friend that bought a house here, and last year rented it out and bought a new home down south. Moved his whole family down south, and enrolled his kids in the school system there in South Austin. And he explained to us that they never once gave homework to the kids. The standards, they just didn't hold them to any standards. It was horrific. He basically said that because of the schools, he's moved back now here, and I mean, my kids got homework every single day after school. It's nothing crazy, it's read a book and tell us what happened in the 12-page book.
Yeah.
He's first grade, but um, it's a really small town, and they do not let any of that stuff slide. It's a very
No.
unique town. I've been all over Austin. I first moved to Round Rock, down the side, in the city, south of the city, east side. I've never seen anything like Lago before. And I'll stop now on that note.
No, that's
Because
that's
I'm
awesome.
upping it too much, I think.
The closest thing that I know of in the area to Lago is Wimberley, which is it's a 3A high school. They could be 4A now.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that same type of thing. And Brandon saying they're also building in Salado, which Salado's north of Georgetown on I-35 as well. Another really, really cool town. It's growing very quickly. A new high school, Brandon, is that going to be a second high school, or are they just rebuilding the original? That's interesting knowledge. You get all
You
kinds
know,
of data information on this station. What are you talking about?
in college, granted, I went to college a while ago, but in business school, I remember them telling us that if you ever want to save money on research, you just go look at what Starbucks are doing. If a Starbucks is moving into a neighborhood, it is an up and coming neighborhood. They've done the
Yep.
research.
Yep.
And so, it's funny. There's a whole group of people that will build around new Starbucks.
Yeah,
So they
absolutely.
know
Yeah.
that they've done the research.
Stephen, they're going to build another high school. I don't think there's any way around it. At least the growth has slowed down for a little bit. Guys, Drip is Dripping Springs, where I live. Um, I think they're going to. I just don't think there's an option. You've got to bring everybody up to speed on what the options are. Texas is huge on sports and athletics and mostly football. And in Austin, you've got a few schools who have been kind of leading the pack on it. Westlake's been great forever. That's Eanes ISD. Once Westlake became landlocked and too expensive for most people to move into, people moved their kids into Lake Travis, which Lake Travis actually used to be a part of Dripping Springs ISD. And so they were moving their kids into Lake Travis. Lake Travis has a huge amount of athletic success and academic success because they can hold kids accountable when you have athletic success. And so then Dripping Springs now is getting that, the people that don't want to be a part of Lakeway and Lake Travis, they're coming to Dripping Springs on the southwest side of town. So the question is, and it's been of the people in Dripping Springs, okay, do you stay one high school, get really big like Westlake and Lake Travis has done, and keep that one high school together for athletic purposes, and then maybe have like a freshman campus or something like that? Or do you build two separate high schools where everybody, you've got just two complete high schools? I think that they're going to build a second high school. I don't think it's any question. Stephen, what you got? I wish they'd keep one school as 6A, the other schools as smaller schools, no direct. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you did one 6A high school and maybe like a 4A, and then people could kind of pick and choose a little bit what they wanted for their kids. I just don't know how that works in in an academic setting, because there's always going to be people that bitch because they think their kids are getting the short end of the straw, whether it's the kids at the smaller school and their parents are bitching because they don't get as many resources as the big school, or the kids and parents at the big school that are bitching because they don't get the individualized attention that the smaller school's doing. And this isn't a comment on Drip. This is a comment on every school district I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of a few of them. Administration does not have the backbone to deal with parents when they start bitching. So I think what they do is they don't want to. I don't think that they're going to want to deal with anybody feeling like they're slighted. So I think they're going to end up making two equal size schools. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Stephen. And then what did Brandon kind of popped in? 256 square foot,
Yeah, he didn't know it's going to be.
square feet. Okay. Got you. Cool. Easy enough. Let us know, man. Keep me updated on that.
Yeah.
Get back to your honeymoon. What the hell?
Congratulations on the marriage.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, cool, brother. Anything else to wrap up on?
That's it for me.
Okay. I think I have got, wow. I think I am good on it. I threw out a lot of information today. I don't, man, is that good or bad?
I really liked it in the beginning, and then I got a little bored halfway through. I don't know about anybody else. Any other updates?
I'm sorry, guys. If I
Don't be
bored you,
sorry.
let me know.
Just because I'm bored, I'm super ADHD. It means nothing. That means nothing. That does not mean the rest of the audience is bored.
Well, dude, you're freezing again. Like, I don't know what's happening. Last week, it was completely fine. Anyway.
Sorry, I got nothing.
All right, man. That's it, guys. We're going to do it again next week. And, you can always leave comments after the fact. We have access to these comments, and we'll answer questions. If you want us to cover anything specific, let us know. More than happy to do that as well. All right.
Thank you
Steven,
much.
cheers, brother.
Peace out, brother.
Cheers from Pound Town.
See you soon.